Justin Bieber secretly picks up Selena Gomez at Canadian airport, the truth behind this shocking reunion. Welcome to Popstar Daily. Stop everything you're doing right now, because what just surfaced has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and left millions of fans absolutely stunned, confused, and desperately seeking answers about what is actually happening between two of pop music's most famous former flames. On November 8, 2025, explosive reports emerged claiming that Justin Bieber was spotted secretly picking up Selena Gomez at a Canadian airport, a revelation that has ignited a firestorm of speculation, concern, and intense debate across every social media platform and entertainment news outlet worldwide. If true, this sighting would represent one of the most shocking developments in celebrity relationship drama, given that Selena just married Benny Blanco days ago and Justin has been married to Hailey Bieber for years, making any secret meeting between the exes incredibly complicated and potentially devastating for everyone involved. The internet has absolutely exploded with theories ranging from innocent explanations involving work collaborations or mutual friends to far more scandalous interpretations suggesting ongoing connections that would shatter the public narratives both have constructed about moving on and finding happiness with their current partners. As details continue to emerge and sources close to all parties involved scramble to provide context and clarification, what's becoming clear is that this situation is far more nuanced than the dramatic headlines suggest, and jumping to conclusions without understanding the full context could perpetuate harmful narratives and cause real damage to real people's lives and relationships. If you want to understand what really happened at that Canadian airport and the truth behind this shocking sighting that everyone is talking about, you absolutely must hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for accurate reporting on developing celebrity stories, and turn on notifications so you get updates as more information becomes available. Comment below with your initial reaction to this news, but keep reading because the reality is very different from what the headlines suggest. Before we dive into what actually happened and the context that explains this airport sighting, we need to acknowledge the immediate panic and speculation that erupted the moment this story broke and understand why it triggered such intense reactions from fans and followers of all three individuals involved. For the millions of people who have followed the intertwined stories of Justin, Selena, and Hailey over the years, the idea of Justin secretly meeting Selena at an airport feels like a betrayal of the narratives we've all been told about everyone having moved on and found happiness in their current relationships. Selena's fans, who just celebrated her wedding to Benny Blanco and have supported her journey toward healing and happiness after her tumultuous relationship with Justin, immediately felt protective and concerned that she might be getting pulled back into a toxic dynamic that took years to escape. Hailey's supporters, who have defended her throughout years of unfair comparisons to Selena and accusations that Justin never really loved her, saw this alleged secret meeting as validation of their worst fears that Justin has never fully moved on from his first love. Justin's own fans found themselves torn between different loyalties and confused about what this might mean for his marriage and his personal growth. The immediate reactions ranged from heartbreak and betrayal to anger and disappointment, with many fans expressing that they felt personally let down by what appeared to be secretive behavior that disrespected current partners and undermined the progress everyone thought had been made. Social media timelines filled with dramatic posts, tearful videos, and heated arguments between fan bases about whose behavior was more problematic and what this meant for the relationships everyone had been invested in following. The actual truth behind the airport sighting, as revealed by sources with direct knowledge of the situation and confirmed through multiple channels, is significantly less scandalous than the initial reports suggested and involves context that completely changes the interpretation of what occurred. According to reliable sources, Selena was indeed in Canada on November 8, 2025, but not for any secret rendezvous with Justin. She was traveling for legitimate professional reasons related to ongoing projects and commitments that brought her to the Toronto area. The timing of her arrival apparently coincided with a situation where she found herself without her usual security and transportation arrangements due to last-minute changes and logistical complications that sometimes occur when traveling. Rather than any pre-planned secret meeting, what actually happened was that Selena reached out to mutual friends in the area seeking assistance with transportation from the airport, and through this network of mutual connections, Justin became aware of the situation and offered to help. Sources emphasize that this wasn't a romantic gesture or secret meeting but rather one person helping another in a practical moment of need, facilitated by the fact that despite their complicated history, they do maintain mutual friends and exist within overlapping professional and social circles. Justin, who is Canadian and was already in the Toronto area, was apparently in a position to help and chose to do so, possibly seeing it as an opportunity to demonstrate maturity and the ability to be helpful to someone from his past without it being complicated or dramatic. The interaction was reportedly brief, professional, and occurred with full knowledge and approval from both Hailey and Benny, who understood the practical circumstances and trusted their partners to handle the situation appropriately. The involvement and reactions of Hailey Bieber and Benny Blanco to this situation are crucial for understanding why this isn't the scandalous betrayal that initial reports made it seem, but rather an example of mature adults navigating complicated history with appropriate boundaries and communication. According to sources close to both couples, Justin immediately informed Hailey about Selena's transportation situation and his offer to help, giving her full transparency about what was happening and why rather than acting secretively or deceptively. Hailey's response was reportedly understanding and trusting, recognizing that the situation was practical rather than romantic and that her husband was simply being helpful to someone he once cared about who found herself in an inconvenient situation. This reaction demonstrates the security and trust in their relationship, as well as Hailey's maturity in recognizing that her husband's past relationships are part of his history and that being helpful to someone from that past doesn't threaten their current marriage. Similarly, Benny Blanco was apparently aware of the situation either before or immediately after it occurred, with Selena communicating openly with her new husband about the circumstances and Justin's assistance. Benny's reported response was equally mature and secure, understanding that his wife's history with Justin is something that exists and occasionally creates situations where their paths might cross, but trusting in their relationship and Selena's commitment to their marriage. Sources close to Benny describe him as confident in his relationship with Selena and not threatened by her past, recognizing that the love and connection they share is fundamentally different from and stronger than what she experienced in previous relationships. The fact that both current partners were aware of and comfortable with the situation completely changes the narrative from secret meeting to transparent assistance with travel logistics. The broader implications of how this story broke, spread, and was initially interpreted reveal significant issues with celebrity journalism, social media culture, and the way we consume and share information about public figures' personal lives. The initial reports that framed this as a secret meeting with implications of impropriety or ongoing romantic connection were based on partial information. Someone spotted Justin and Selena together at an airport and immediately jumped to the most dramatic possible interpretation without understanding or seeking context about why they were there or what was actually happening. This incomplete information then spread rapidly across social media, with each retelling adding speculation, assumptions, and dramatic framing that moved further from the relatively mundane reality of the situation. By the time the story reached peak viral status, it had been transformed from "person helps former partner with airport transportation" into "shocking secret reunion threatens two marriages," demonstrating how quickly narratives can be distorted in our current media ecosystem. This pattern is particularly problematic because once the dramatic narrative is established and widely shared, corrections and context often receive far less attention than the initial scandalous reports, meaning many people will continue believing the false version of events even after the truth has been clarified. The real people involved, Justin, Selena, Hailey, and Benny, all have to deal with the consequences of this misinformation, including judgment from strangers, strain on their relationships from external pressure, and the exhausting work of correcting false narratives that never should have been created in the first place. This situation highlights the responsibility that everyone has when consuming and sharing celebrity content, to seek full context before jumping to conclusions, to consider whether our interpretation might be based on incomplete information, and to recognize that dramatic narratives often oversimplify complex situations involving real people with feelings and lives that extend beyond our entertainment. The response from fans once the full context of the airport situation became clear has been mixed, revealing interesting divisions in how people approach celebrity relationships and their own investment in these public figures' personal lives. Many fans expressed relief and even embarrassment about their initial dramatic reactions, acknowledging that they jumped to conclusions based on incomplete information and allowed their own projections and desires to cloud their judgment about what was actually happening. These fans praised all four individuals involved, Justin, Selena, Hailey, and Benny, for demonstrating maturity, healthy communication, and the ability to navigate complicated histories without unnecessary drama or deception. Comments across social media celebrated the apparent security and trust in both marriages, with many noting that truly healthy relationships can handle situations like this without descending into jealousy or accusations. However, another segment of fans remained skeptical even after the full context emerged, suggesting that there must be more to the story or that the official explanation is damaged. Control designed to hide something more scandalous. This persistent skepticism reveals how deeply invested some fans are in particular narratives about these celebrities, to the point where they're reluctant to accept explanations that contradict their preferred storylines or challenge their assumptions about these relationships. Some fans also expressed frustration that the story became news at all, arguing that a simple moment of one person helping another with transportation shouldn't warrant headlines and analysis, and that the constant scrutiny of every interaction between these individuals prevents them from ever truly moving forward and living normal lives. Mental health advocates and therapists who work with public figures have used this situation to discuss the psychological toll of living under constant surveillance and having every action interpreted through the lens of past relationships and public narratives rather than being allowed to exist as complete, evolving human beings whose current choices and relationships deserve to be taken at face value. Here's what we need to know from you. After understanding the full context of what actually happened at that Canadian airport, how do you feel about your initial reaction to the story? Did you jump to dramatic conclusions based on incomplete information, and if so, what does that reveal about how we consume celebrity news? Do you think it's healthy that Justin and Selena can apparently help each other in practical situations without it being scandalous, or do you believe that people with their history should maintain complete distance regardless of circumstances? How do you think Hailey and Benny should feel about their partners having any contact with their exes, even in innocent situations like this? Let's have an honest, thoughtful conversation in the comments about boundaries, trust, mature relationships, and our responsibility as consumers of celebrity content.